Hello again and welcome back to Viewpoints on the Line. Get a hold of this issue. No interpreter, DUI charges dropped. Judge dismisses charge because of no interpreter, as you see upon your screen. The guy was stopped by a cop for an erratic turn. The cop smelled the alcohol on his breath. He was subsequently charged with impaired driving. His lawyer argues, well, there was no interpreter present. This was in the middle of the night there. You can get an interpreter anytime. When you look at the reality of this situation, we live in a multicultural society. I worked in a cop shop for 4 years. I went to the traffic department. I understand the burden on these guys. Drunk driving is a huge issue. The logistics of getting an interpreter in the middle of the night for everybody who claims they speak broken English or they can't understand. In this particular case, the cop says, the guy seemed to understand English just fine. It was a bit clumsy, if you want to put it that way, but he understood exactly what was being said. And I know for a fact that there are many people out there, they'll use whatever resources they can to beat a charge. Well, I can't talk English. What is this judge thinking?
Drunk driving is a bigger social problem than gun violence.
No kidding. It'll kill people. It kills people.
And I think that any person,
this judge is a disaster
any person who receives their driving is a privilege. It's not a right in our society.
Yes.
And ignorance is not an excuse of the law.
That's true.
And for us to even bring in our Constitution to protect this guy in terms of his rights were violated because he broke a law. He made an illegal turn. And the fact if he was drinking or not, that's just something. But the question is, why was he even given a license in the first place if he's going to be creating two wrong things in one little incident?
I'm not sure what this judge was thinking.
Yeah, I haven't read the specifics. I wasn't there. I didn't go over the evidence, so I always hesitate to be double guess the judge in particular.
Yeah, you're a lawyer, so you have to be careful.
I mean,
you're not going to take CanWest News Service at face value.
That's correct.
But I understand.
But as a starting point, I would say if you speak enough English to say double jack on the rocks, you've probably got enough English to say I would like a lawyer. And so,
got a point.
You know what I mean? And in the ad, in the article, if the article's a correct reflection of the facts, even the judge in that case said he wasn't convinced that this guy didn't know English.
Imagine that.
Now, the other thing is that I can understand throwing out, for example, a confession if the person didn't know he had a right to silence and he would have known had he had a lawyer. However, I don't think it follows that, a person, when you can smell the alcohol, that all the evidence should be thrown out or that the charge should be thrown out. Okay, maybe we don't take any testimony that he may have given because he didn't understand he had a right to a lawyer, but I don't think that means you throw out the breathalyzer and you let the guy go. I'm not sure if that's what happened here, but I'm just talking in general. Again, we're bound by the decisions of our Supreme Court of Canada and our courts of appeal in terms of when we should be using these dismissals or the removal of evidence from consideration. When we do these things, sometimes we do it just so that the state doesn't start trampling over process, so that it doesn't start violating process. So, and I'm not sure how egregious it was in this case. It sounds to me like this is one where at least it could have gone either way, and that's why it's newsworthy.
Yes.
Right?
Well, actually, this is what the guy said to the cop. No, I not drink nothing. Okay, the cop said he could understand English. He was speaking a bit clumsy, but he understood it. Right. And he agreed to take a breathalyzer. So he took the breathalyzer, failed it, was subsequently charged, and then all of a sudden, he gets off saying, I don't speak English.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, the guy lied.
I think so too.
Based on what's here. And I think the judge even saw that he probably was questioning the guy's truthfulness to the police officer. But I think what the judge did here is he made his decision and let a guy go. I think more to change police behavior. And I think, there was no reason for. He should have still upheld the charge against the man and perhaps reprimanded the police and said you need to be more cautious in your advice. Because judges have that kind of leniency.
The cop was talking to the guy. The guy was speaking broken English. He agreed to a breathalyzer. I can't see what else the cop could have done.
Yeah. I think,
I can't see what else.
You're right. I mean, and these cases all are going to boil down to the facts. The judge has to listen to the testimony and decide whether or not the officer, for example, heard something that indicated or saw something that indicated this person did or did not understand the English language well enough that an interpreter was not required.
So the other option is we have an interpreter walking around with every single cop in the country. Wow, think of the cost of that. We're going to go for a break now. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned.
I was actually
Hello again and welcome back to Viewpoints on the Line. We're continuing to talk about that case with the Spanish man. He has an accent, according to the cop here, had an accent but could understand English. The judge throws out his drunk driving charge saying there wasn't an interpreter present when the cop stopped him in the middle of the night. That's what we're talking about here. Now, we've told you, the viewer, that any comment you want to say today on any of the topics, go ahead and say so. Our time's running out quickly. We're not going to get to that third topic. Many times that happens because there's too much hate generated over one topic. And we're going to go back to you on the phone lines now and hear what you have to say. Jason on line 8. Hello, Jason. You're on the line.
Hi there. My name's Jason. I moved up from Newfoundland to Toronto when I was 12 years old, and I moved to Jane and Finch, and I lived in Toronto for 20 years, and I went to a predominantly, we had 67 different races in our school, and I loved it. I'm a white guy, and basically I loved learning about all the different other peoples that were in this school, and I think that if we tear down the multicultural system and go back to a separated system, we're not going to learn any more about each other, and I think that's just wrong. Like I said, I loved learning about Jamaican, African, Pakistani, all the different people that were there, and I thought it was just beautiful.
Well, Jason, thanks for calling in. The world's a better place because of people like you. Keep it up. Let's go now to Pat on line 1. Hello, Pat, you're on the line. Let's go to Kate on line 5. Hello, Kate, you're on the line. Go ahead, Kate. Having problems. Let's try Candy on line 6. Hello, Candy, you're on the line.
Hello, my name is Candy, and I'm a black lady, and I don't believe that having a black school will solve all the problems, because I believe there's a lot of black mothers out there that don't want to send their children to an all-black school.
Yes. Well taken, Candy. Let's go now to Frank on line 7. Hello, Frank. You're on the line. You know, Candy's got a point herself. I mean, we're hearing where the viewer's point of view is. Obviously, this is a very heated topic we discussed today. People want to talk about it for a reason.
Both of these topics are connected if you really think about it.
Connected.
Because one is about should language be more accessible, the other one is should more cultural sensitivity and education be more accessible. We're talking about issues of accessibility. But I think what we need to really talk about is just issues of sensitivity and issues of, I've heard him mention this several times, reason, right? We need to look at what does it mean to be reasonably functional in our society, and how do we respond to that? And we can't be shifting the blame anytime something goes wrong in our own lives or with us to try and expect our society to fix it.
I want to be clear on something here. I make no excuses for people who choose to, for example, pull out a gun and shoot somebody, but I also realize that when you're dealing with youth in particular, they're very retrievable. They're young. Basically, they're reacting. I mean, everybody knows how youth are. They react largely out of emotion. They're reacting to their surroundings. There's got to be a solution here.
Well, one of the things that we're doing in our center, and I mentioned this, we have some young men who've had problems in their lives, and they've now come in and they're becoming youth leaders in the programs in our center. And we started this program called the Youth Educating Against Hate, where what we're talking about is love. We're talking about...
Well, you're in the Toronto Sun here, an article I have here.
Yeah, and we're talking about using things like love and peace and character to help address whatever it is that are challenging us. And I think once we get to those levels of discourse, it shouldn't be about an Afrocentric or getting language we have to be talking about what does it mean, how do we treat each other.
Anthony, we're out of time, and Paul, the two of you brought some really great points to the table. I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Christine.
And that's all the time we have. See you again next time. We'll be talking about issues facing women of Islam. I'm Christine Williams, and from all of us, thank you for watching.